Retired four-star General Jack Keane joins me now. General, do you think that President Trump paused the Iran war too soon?
Well, a couple of points. One, on the surface of it, yes. You know, I do believe my preference would have been to continue combat operations, finish what we started, threaten to take control of Cargill, and then, as a result of that, use that as leverage in negotiations to get the uranium enrichment out. And if they don't agree, then absolutely take control of Cargill or destroy it. Another path would be to negotiate while combat operations are ongoing. Both of those would have been my preference. But look, the president has access to information we don't have, Stuart, and we got to be frank about that. And he may have some indications that indicate, for some reason, a deal is more likely now than what it has been in the past. And so they're not going to divulge anything substantive like that. So in my judgment here, we still have leverage to it. And the leverage is simply this. The deadline is 2 weeks. We hold to the deadline. And the reality is, if you don't meet all of my conditions, if you don't give me everything I want, is what the president is saying, then he's going to start it all over again and finish what we started. So we still have leverage here, and that is really the critical thing in wanting to continue the combat operations, to make sure we had the maximum leverage. And we still got some here, and certainly the president will hopefully exercise that. What the Iranians will try to do, Stuart, is they'll try to delay and drag this out, because they're really masters at this. I mean, they've been at this for years, and they're excellent at it. And they'll drag it out because they want more pressure on the president not to start again, because oil prices are down, markets up, people are feeling better, political pressure's off him, and the idea of going back in, you know, would be a very unpopular start, for sure. And I think he has to do exactly that, but hold to the 2-week deadline.
The White House says our military has achieved great success in the fight. Watch this.
Thanks to the unbelievable capabilities of America's war fighters, the United States has achieved and exceeded those core military objectives in just 38 days. The U.S. military destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, crushing the regime's ability to manufacture weapons that they and their proxies use to maim and kill Americans and terrorize the world. Iran's ability to build and stockpile ballistic missiles and long-range drones has also been set back by years.
Set back by years, yes, but if that's the case, why are so many missiles still flying? It only takes one rocket into one oil tanker in the Gulf, and the whole thing closes down.
Well, the reality is we probably had a couple of more weeks to finish, you know, what we started, and that's just the facts of it. What we have accomplished is staggering to think of it in 38 days. When I listened to the chairman and the secretary in the briefing they gave the other day and provided more details than they had ever provided before, there's no precedent for accomplishing something like that in 38 days in American warfare history, period. It is really quite staggering, and we shouldn't wash over it. It's an incredible accomplishment by our troops as well as the IDF here. So yeah, we have set Iran back for sure. There is more work to be done if we're not able to get a deal, and obviously if we had 2 more weeks for the IDF to do that work, and also for Admiral Cooper and CENTCOM to do that work, that sort of speaks for itself. But you cannot take away from what we have accomplished here and how much we have set back Iran in terms of ballistic missiles, drones, offensive capability, and all of their capability to come in terms of future development. But you're absolutely right, Stuart. They've been hiding their launch systems for their missiles and not using them because they want to have some capability at the end of this, when they knew America is going to stop and the IDF at some point to retaliate. These people are desperate to show that, one, we survived this, we stood up to American military superpower and the proven capability of the IDF combined, and we're still here. And look at, we can still retaliate with some capability. We will never be able to eliminate every drone and every missile and every launcher. That's not physically possible. But what we can do is reduce it so dramatically, Stuart, that they cannot conduct a sustained attack. That is what we can do, and that is achievable.
That's what we got to do. General Keane, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, General. We'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot.